Hey guys, Mr. 3D Hero here. In today's video for my Loadout series, I'm going to be focusing on a loadout designed for getting behind enemy lines, flanking, and cause as much damage as possible while staying on your toes. Generally, it's more for a serious playstyle, if you want to say. So sit back, relax, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So the name of the loadout is called the Banshee, and the whole purpose of it is for you to support your teammates. As in, you're going to be a sacrificial lamb. You're going to be up front in the enemy lines, you're going to get behind them, you're going to cause as much damage as possible and bring the heat onto you. So you want the enemy to focus on you specifically, and then while they all focus on you, your teammates will be able to push up, take over the area, and then pretty much catch the enemy when they're not looking. It's a risky type of playstyle, and it does require you to have knowledge of the map, but that'll be fine because with the loadout, this will basically help you with understanding the map and using weapons that you may not be quite familiar with. So let's go into the main loadout. The class we're going to be using is Phase Shift. Now Phase Shift is not exactly hard to use, but if you want to be using it kind of serious and kind of recklessly, it does require you to predict where enemy may be and predict how to use it as a counter. Now if you're going to be going up against campers in the area, you don't want to be pushing up with your teammates. Instead, you want your teammates to do as much support fire as they can, and for you to get behind enemy lines. If you can get behind enemy lines using your Phase Shift correctly, not only will you be able to change the tide of the fight, but it also becomes quite handy into predicting when you might get caught out, as some areas may be completely empty, but sometimes, just sometimes, there may be enemies camping or just hiding without you actually knowing. And I've seen it many times where I have been running through a certain area, I think this area is quiet, and then only for me to get killed, and then when I look back on the kill cam, I find that I've been killed by a camper, who for some odd reason, instead of him running about, he just sits in the corner for no apparent reason. So now the weapon we're going to be using is Alternator. Now the Alternator is a weapon that I kind of had trouble using at first, but with practice it gets kind of easier. Now the one thing you want to know with Alternator is that it's not great at long distances. If you're going to try to get people at long distances, I don't recommend it. But if you do want to try it either way, try and just tap with the weapon, as it does quite a bit of damage. And tapping it is a bit more accurate compared to most SMGs. Ideally, the weapon is more perfect in close to medium range in situations. Also, one thing you have to remember is that its recoil is quite odd as well, as in it will shake left and right, and sometimes you will land your shots onto somebody. You see how much damage you do, but it's not effectively gonna go through with all of it. And most times you'll probably land maybe 2 hits, and then the majority of your other shots will then all miss. And if that's the case, I recommend that you just slow down, just tap with the weapon, and you'll probably finish the person off much quicker. Now the second you're going to be using the MGL. Now I don't really need to explain what the MGL does. So MGL is just great for staying on the move and being as chaotic as possible with the weapon, and it's great for taking out certain AIs like the Spectres, as it's magnetic and it does quite a bit of damage to them. I think it insta kills them in one go. So if that's something you want to try and use against Spectres that become a major problem later on in the game, then by all means use that weapon. Titan will be using is Ronin. Now Ronin is designed for getting behind enemy lines without being noticed, perfectly designed for this type of build. It allows you to take out pilots quickly with your sword or your main primary. It allows you to phase in and out and paralyze pilots or titans, and allows you to pretty much get in there, cause as much damage as possible, and then try and get out of there before the heat turns onto you. Now if you do get turned on by a group of titans, no pun intended, and in certain situation you can't escape, this is where you want to use your nuclear ejection. Now I know a lot of people say nuclear ejection is kind of spammy and it's cheap to use, but nuclear ejection is kind of great when it comes down to taking out a bunch of titans, especially titans that don't know how to counter you or are stuck in the corner. Now if you get people stuck in the corner and they can't get out, in many ways it's kind of their fault. But if they do get the catch onto you and they're in an open area and they run away and escape, you may do a bit of damage. If not, then so be it. At that point there, when you're in the air, you're kind of vulnerable. So this is where you use your Phase Shift. So you use your Phase Shift when you do nuclear eject, and then when you use your Phase Shift to get out of a situation, it allows you to freely carry on with your killing spree and get behind enemy lines and do whatever you can to possibly help your team push for the win. Now your kit is going to be the Power Cell. Now Power Cell allows you to regenerate your class kit at a much faster rate. Now combine that with your Alternator with a tactical, and you're going to be seeing some magic born to this. And your low profile is going to allow you to jump on the Titans, and basically take their batteries out without them noticing. And it also allows you to not be seen visibly and so easily by players or Titan, as your backpack jet is less noticeable. Ordnance we're going to be using is electric smoke. Now the electric smoke is great for covering your backside in tough situations. It allows you to close off an area that you think an enemy may be in or camping in. It was also great for taking out multiple groups of enemies. So if you know there's a group of enemies that are hiding or a group of enemies that are approaching you, if you throw it down into them, some of them will panic. Against AI they will just instantly die, but against pilots they will take damage, quite a bit of damage, and then you can just go in, use your alternator, and pretty much finish up the job from there and help your team. Lastly, a boost we're going to be using is the amp. Now amp basically allows you to pretty much amplify your weapon to do more damage than normal. Now used for the alternator, it seems like an overkill, but at this point here it's kind of up to you whether you want to use the boost effectively or not. Now you can always change your boost to something else, or you can always change your weapon, your main primary weapon, for something else, such as the car to make up in damage, or use a Volt to make up in damage it lacks in. But it's kind of up to you to decide on how you want to use the playstyle and how you effectively want to win through the game. Now when it comes down to gameplay wise, you can see me that I try to stay on my toes as much as possible. I try to get on top of roofs and buildings as much as possible, so I can get a nice ground view of the fight and battle. And then when I find out a nice area that I can tackle in, I then just go behind enemy lines and cause as much damage as possible. One thing you want to try to do is try to stay away from the main fighting, and you want to try to get behind enemies. Don't try to be one of those frontline soldiers, that's not your job. Your job is to try to get the heat bung onto you, so then your teammates can then push up and then take out enemies when they're not looking. In many ways this is kind of like a game of cat and mouse. You're the mouse and you're causing as much problems for the cats. So if you can cause as much problem issues for the other team, not only are you going to help your teammates with pushing for the win and pushing up for Titans and boosts, but it also helps with the teammates to actually understand that if they focus too much onto one player, they're going to end up losing. And in many situations it's kind of possible, because I've done it before, where I've caused so much problems for another team that instead of them focusing on other teammates, they will focus on staying on to rooftops or certain buildings or certain crane areas to look out for me. And instead of them pushing up, they will try to focus on me, take me out, as they think that by taking me out I'm going to be in a major problem, when truth be told, my teammates are the ones that are going to be going in and causing as much problems for them. So in many ways they're going to have two things to deal with. They'll be dealing with you, someone who's going to be getting behind your line, causing much damage, causing a problem, causing confusion, and bringing the heat to yourself. And then you're going to be having your teammates come in and pretty much either finish up the job or just generally try to push for the win as always. Now say if you do get a Titan to come in, like I said, use your Ronin to go in and clear out the pilots as quickly as possible. Focus on the pilots and AI as much as possible. If, for example, you see there are Titans, and if only you see the Titans are not paying attention to you, go behind them, use your Thunder Slash, and then start attacking them. Doing this combination will allow you to paralyze them for a few seconds and then do as much damage as possible. Use your main primary to do as much damage as possible, and then when they turn around, phase shift behind them or around them, and then use your main sword to do more damage to them. Then hopefully if you've done this in enough time, they'll be lowered and weakened to the point of where they won't be able to react. Sometimes it may not work, and that's okay, but if you can try to push them into a corner, you can then practically trap them. And if you could trap them, you can then use your nuclear ejection, if you're in that terrible state, to stop them. Sometimes you may be lucky, and sometimes the Titan players may not have an extra dash onto them. If they don't have an extra phase dash onto them, it makes it even more of a benefit for yourself. So it kind of depends on how you want to play out your playstyle, but ideally try and focus entirely on taking out pilots and AI that are not in the fight. Don't focus on the Titans unless you know you have a chance and unless they haven't seen you, because it's kind of risky. And plus, you're kind of a glass cannon. You're effective, but you're way too weak against people like Tone or Legion or Iron. So in general, yeah, I think the loadout is quite good. I think personally, this is more of a serious loadout for those that enjoy getting into areas and being as damaging as possible. I think I pay attention to watching players such as either Frothy or Banshee or Gamer Sage, these type of players who enjoy being on their toes and using weapons that are quite effective and dangerous. I think this loadout specifically, I focus entirely on Gamer State with his type of movement of how he does. He's always on the move, he's always wall running, he's always causing as much damage as he can, he's always using his class and his weapon and his boost effectively as possible. So in many ways I'm trying to focus on that and trying to make it as effective for you to use as well, but it also requires you to be as serious as well, as this loadout is, though it's fun to use, it's more for a competitively serious player, and for you to get the hang of it, you need to know the map. If you can know where enemies spawn, if you can understand how and where the main fights will be occurring, this loadout will play within your benefit. But if that's not the case, like I said, just play around with the loadout, play around with the build until you find something a bit more nice and comfortable, and then maybe this may be the loadout for you, or maybe you may create something else that's more effective and beneficial for you. So that's the end of the video. I do hope you enjoyed it, as I will be doing some more similar to this. So if you did like the video, then leave a like for more. If you didn't, then leave a dislike. Also leave a comment in the comment section, and also subscribe for more if you did enjoy content, as I'll be doing this on a regular basis as well. So thank you for watching, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of the video.